Okay, so in this video, we start the Cambridge IGCSE 921 ICT paper. This is May-June 2020 paper 2-2. Okay, this is the paper that we are going to be attempting right now. Okay, so before we do get started, do ensure that you have the following files with you. You must have the following files in order to complete this practical paper. Okay, so over here in my folder, I do have the files that are required to complete this practical paper. So I hope you also have those files with you. Okay, right, let's get started over here. So over here in task number 1, we are supposed to set up our evidence document. Okay, this is where we will be placing all our screenshots. Okay, so over here it says open the file j22evidence.rtf. Let's do that immediately. Let's come over here. Let's open up the evidence document. Okay, and then what does it tell to do next? It says over here, make sure that your name, center number, and candidate number will appear on every page of this document. So since there's a requirement of where it should appear on every page, it would be best for you to put it either in the header or the footer. So you know, in this document, in your evidence document, you have the header in the top portion and you have the footer in the bottom portion of your page. You can choose any one of them. I'm going to go with the header. So I'm going to double click on this top portion, double click over here. And over here, what am I supposed to type? I'm supposed to type my name, center number, and candidate number. Okay, so I'll just put my name. And I don't have a center number or candidate number. So for now, I'm just going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now my work in the header is done. So I'm going to click on close header and footer over here. The next thing the question goes on to say is to save this document as J220 evidence, followed by your candidate number. So over here, they have given you an example as well. So that's what I'm going to do right now. On your laptop, the shortcut key for save as is F12. Okay, since you're using a laptop, you may have to press Fn F12. Okay, or you can simply come over here and say File, Save As. So you can click on Browser. Make sure you are in the same folder where your data files are. Okay, so I'm in the same folder where my data files are, and I'm going to save it as same name with the ending 1234 as my candidate number. Okay, right. Moving on then. So it says over here, you will need to place screenshots in this evidence document. Okay, so that's what we will be doing in this document. We will be pasting all our screenshots. Okay, right. Now moving on to task number 2. Okay, where we'll be working on a document. Okay, so you are going to edit a report. The company uses a corporate house style for all its documents. One paragraph style has been created and applied. Additional paragraph styles must be created and applied to the report as instructed. Okay, right. So let's move on then. Over here, it says open the file j220bikepack.rtf. So let's do that. So we have the file over here. Bikepack file is over here. Let's double click and open it up. Right. So this is what we see over here. Okay, let me just zoom out a little bit so that I have a complete view of the page over here. Right. Now, if you move down over here, it says the page is set to A4, it's landscape orientation, and there is a 2 centimeter margin. So do not make any changes to these settings. Okay, save the document in your work area in the format of the software you're using with the file name BP guide. Okay, so we have got to save this file as BP guide. So let's go ahead and do that. Once again, I can remind you, you can either press F12 or Fn F12, or you can come over here, file, save as. Make sure you are in the same folder, okay? And the file name is BP guide. Okay, so over here I have given my file name as well. Okay, so we click on save. Right, that's also done. Let's go back to our question paper. So place in evidence document a screenshot to show this file has been saved. Make sure there is evidence of the file type. So you need to come into your folder, and in your folder you can see over here. Let me just quickly refresh by pressing F5. So when I press F5 and refresh my folder, you can see the file has been saved over here. And I also have a view that shows me the file name, and also the file type is visible for me. Now you may not have this view. You may, for example, have a view something like this maybe. Okay. So this is also all right because the file type is visible. The icon shows you it's a Word document. So that's also fine. Okay. But ideally, the best view that you could take is if you come to the top here, you have view. You can click over view and you can say you want details. So in details, you can see here the file name is there. The file type is also visible for you. So you can take a screenshot of this. You can use a shortcut keys Windows Shift S. Okay, Windows Shift S, and it goes into screenshot mode. Okay, So now what you can do is you can simply take a screenshot of this area over here, right? Take a screenshot over here. Now, the moment you complete your screenshot, it gets copied. So you go into your evidence document, and below evidence number 1, you simply press, so you can see my cursor is below evidence number 1. You press Control V to have it pasted over there. Okay, so now you can see the screenshot has been pasted over here. Right. Moving on to the next question over here. It says remove any preset page breaks in the document. So you do know what a page break is. A page break is where you send text down to the next line. Okay. So, a break is where you send the text to the next line. Okay. So normally what you would do is if you want to send text down, normally what we do is we keep the cursor at the end of this sentence. For example, say I want to, for example, let's say we have text over here. Now it's in one complete line now. Say, for example, if I want to break this, normally what I do is I keep the cursor over here and I press enter. So enter creates a break. Yeah, the text is taken to the next line. Okay. Then you have something bigger than a break. You have something known as a page break. Yeah, from the point where your cursor is. So, for example, my cursor is right now at this point. You can see where my cursor is blinking. So what I can do is I can go for something called a page break, which means from this point onwards, I want everything to be pushed down to the next page. That's what we call a page break. So normally we come into insert and we say, I want a page break, which means from the point where my cursor is, from that point onwards, I want the text to be moved down to the next page. That's what we call a page break. Now, apparently in this document, page breaks have already been done for us. Okay, the page breaks have already been applied in this document. So this question paper is telling us to remove any preset, any page breaks that were already set. They want us to remove it. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to first go and enable the viewing of page breaks. I hope you guys can follow with what I'm saying. Okay. Right now, page breaks have already been done. Okay. It has already been done. We need to enable it so that we can see where the breaks and page breaks were done. Get my point? I hope we have understood the difference between a break and a page break. A break is when you send text to the next line. A page break is when you send text to the next page. Is it clear? So I need to see where breaks and page breaks have been applied. So in the home tab, you come over here to the home tab. Over here, you have a page break. What do we call this? It allows, it shows where breaks have been applied. Okay, it shows where the breaks and page breaks have been applied. If you enable this, now can you see marks have appeared showing where the breaks have taken place? Where was text sent to the next line? And if you scroll all the way down, you can see at this point, a page break took place. A page break took place means after this particular word font, after the full stop here, text was sent to the next page. That's why it says over here, page break. Okay. So the question paper tells us to remove any preset page break. So anywhere where there is a page break, we are supposed to remove it. So what we simply do is we come over here, we double click on this. Okay. We double click on this page break and we press delete. So this page break gets removed, and you need to understand the moment this gets removed, equipment is going to move up. Equipment is going to come to this particular page. Is it clear? So I'm going to press delete, and you can see equipment has now moved up because the page break was removed. Okay. Right. Place in the footer. So in the footer, you're supposed to put an automated page number, which is to be left aligned. Your name, center number, and candidate number should be right aligned. Okay. So let's go into the footer. So this is the first page, and the bottom portion of a page is the footer. So let's double click and open the footer. And for now, I'm going to remove. I'm not going to remove. I'm going to disable the visibility of page breaks. I'm going to hide them. Okay, because my work with page breaks is now done. So I'm going to hide them now. So let's switch it off. Right. So initially, I need the page number to be on the left-hand side. So I have double clicked and opened the footer. Now I'm going to go into insert. I'm going to go into page number, which is over here. And over here, I want it to be at the bottom of the page, which is here. And I want it to be on the left-hand side, which is over here. So this is perfect. Then on the right-hand side, I want my, what do I need? Name, center number, and candidate number. Okay. So my cursor is now below the page number. If it didn't appear for you, you can simply press enter and go to the next line. Okay. So my name, candidate number, and my center number. And this needs to be right aligned. So I keep the cursor at the beginning of this. I come to home and I say, right align it for me. Okay, so that has been right aligned now. Okay. It then says, make sure that all the alignments match the page margins. We didn't touch the page margins at all. No other text or placeholders are included. We didn't do that as well. Footers are displayed on all pages. Okay, so you can see it's on the first page. It's also appearing on the second page. So far, so good. Your work in the header and footer is now done. So better you close the header and footer. There are two ways of closing it. You can either come to header and footer and say close header and footer. That's one way. Or you can simply double click on your page, in the middle of your page, and close the header and footer. That's the second way. So I'm going to go the second way. I'm just going to double click on the middle of my page and close the header and footer. Right. With that done, then now we are supposed to create styles. Okay, so create and store the following styles based on the default paragraph style. So you are supposed to create new styles in Microsoft Word, and these new styles will be created based on the default paragraph style. So I'll show you what that is all about. Okay. So the first style that we are supposed to create is called BP-subtitle. Okay, so let's go into Microsoft Word, and over here in the Home tab, you can see over here we have styles. I'm going to click on this. Sorry, I'm in the wrong document. Say evidence document. I'm going to move into BP Guide. So in the Home tab over here, we have styles. I'm going to click on this drop down and say I want to create a new style. Okay. And the name of this style is going to be called BP-subtitle. Okay. So it's going to be called BP-subtitle. Now, there are a couple of modifications that I want to make to this. So I'm going to click on modify. And the style is going to be based not on paragraph and character. It's going to be based only on paragraph. Okay, it's only going to be based on the paragraph. This is what the question paper told us. Default paragraph style. Okay, now the first thing that they have told me is it should be a sans serif font. This particular style should contain a sans serif font. So a sans serif font, as you guys know, there are two main categories of fonts. You have sans serif and you have serif. Without pointy edges, and serif are fonts with pointy edges. Okay, so when we say sans serif, we are looking for a font that does not have pointy edges. Okay, so if you look over here, Times New Roman is a serif font. It's a font that has pointy edges. So I'm going to change this to something called Microsoft Sans Serif. Okay, so I have a font called, and I'm sure you also will be having it. Okay, if you're using a Windows device, you will be having Microsoft Sans Serif. You can use that, or you can use any other font that's not having any pointy edges. Okay, so for example, I think Calibri also qualifies for sans serif. Okay, so I'm going to press enter, which means that's the font I want. The next thing is, you can see it should be font size 20. It should be aligned to the right. Okay, so font size 20. Here we have the font size. I'm going to change it. Enter. It's supposed to be right aligned. Then in terms of enhancements, it should be italic. It is already italic. Line spacing should be single, before 0, after 0. So let's go into format. Let's go into paragraph. And over here, line spacing is 0. Before is 0. After is also 0. So we are good to go. Let's click on OK. And say OK. So now you can see the first style has been created. And since my cursor was over here, this style has automatically got applied to this text. Okay, this text over here has automatically received this style because that's where my cursor was when I was creating the style. That's all right. Later on, we will anyway be changing it. So no problems for now. Right, let's move on to the next style. The next style is called BP subhead. So let's come down here, create a style. The name is BP subhead. And let's click on modify. So we want it to be based on the paragraph, okay, and not based on BP subtitle. It should be normal. Okay, I hope you understand why we're doing this. We're doing this because of this particular sentence based on the default paragraph style. Okay, right. So for BP subhead, the font style should be serif. It should be a font which has pointy edges. And right now the computer has put Times New Roman. So Times New Roman is a serif font. It has pointy edges. So you can keep it as it is. The next thing is it should be size 18. It should be center aligned. Size 18. It should be center aligned. There you go. And the next thing it says is it should be bold, underlined. So italic we switch off. It should be bold. It should be underlined. And then it says single line spacing 0 before and 9 after. So we come to format. We come to paragraph. Single line spacing 0 before and it said 9 after. Okay, over here you have 9 after. So I'm going to change this to 9. Say OK and say OK again. Right. The second style has also been created. Now we move on to the third style, which is called BP-body. Okay, so I'm going to go into this drop down and I'm going to say I want a new style, create a new style, and the name is BP-body. So we're going to modify this as well. And this is also going to be based on, it's going to apply for a paragraph. Style type is going to be paragraph based on normal. Okay. And over here, it says it should be sans serif size 11. So I'm going to change this to Microsoft sans serif size 11. Then over here, it has something interesting. It says it should be, the alignment should be justified with a first line indent of 1.5 centimeter. So the alignment should be justified. However, the first line of wherever you apply this to, okay, this particular style, to whichever paragraph you apply it to, the alignment should be justified. However, the first line of that particular paragraph, the first line should be 1.5 centimeters indented from the left. Okay, so let me show you how that's done. So we come over here, right? We come into format, we come into paragraph. And over here, we say we want something special. And what's that special thing? We want the first line to have a left indentation of 1.5 centimeters. Now you see over here, it's having double quotes. No, double quotes means inches. Is it clear? So make sure you type here 1.5 and put cm. Your computer will later on do the conversion for you. Your computer will later on convert this centimeters into inches. But it's very important that you put cm over there. Okay, because if you put 1.5 without cm, your computer will consider it as inches. Okay, do keep that in mind. Right. So this is also done. Justify, I forgot to mention justified. I can do that, I think. Alignment justified over here. Right. And then let's click on OK. Let's see how line spacing is. So line spacing is single before 0, after 6. Okay, so single before 0 and after we need to be 6. So we click on OK. And in terms of enhancements, it's none. So I'm going to switch off italic. Okay, none. And we click on OK. The next thing is BP table, our final style. So we come to the drop down and we say create style. And the name is BP-table. And we're going to modify it. Right. So when we go to modify it, it has to be a serif font size 10. So let's take it Times New Roman. Let's make it size 10. And the next thing is center align. So let's center align this. Next, it has to be italic. It has to be single line spacing, 0 points before, 0 points after. So let's go into format. Let's go into paragraph. Single line spacing, 0 before and 0 after as well. So we say OK. I just forgot to do one thing, which is there should be style type for paragraph based on normal. Okay. Right. I think now we'll have to change this again, as I think. Let's see. The styling was 0, 0. Single. Okay. Italic we didn't put into place. Italic we need, right? Center line is also there. Okay, everything seems to be okay. Let's click on here. Right. Now, the next thing it says is place in your evidence document a screenshot to show that the style settings have been defined for the BP body style. Make sure the style is based on the default paragraph style. Okay, so we have to show that we applied the changes to BP body. We're supposed to take a screenshot of it. So BP body is over here. I'm going to right click over here and I'm going to click on modify. Okay, so now I can see the settings of it. Okay, and now I'm going to take a screenshot of this. Shortcut key is Windows Shift S, and I'm going to take a screenshot of this particular screen over here, right? And I'm supposed to paste it in. I'm supposed to paste it on the evidence number 2. So let's go into our evidence document. We have evidence number 2 over here. Let's click on Control V to paste it. Okay, there you go. The next thing it says is display these custom style names as a list in the Style Manager Organizer. Provide screenshots, provide screenshot evidence of this list. Okay, so we have multiple style names over here. We are supposed to display it in which one? We are supposed to display it in the Style Manager or Organizer. Okay, so how do we get to that is we come over here and here we have all our styles. And if you see below this, we have a small arrow over here When you click on this, it gives you the style manager where you can see all your styles. And if you want, you can enable, you can disable them, you can remove them, you can delete them. All that can be done from over here. Is it clear? So they want you to take a screenshot with this style manager visible. Okay. So again, Windows Shift S, and we come over here, take a screenshot. We come to our evidence document, which is over here, and we paste it. Okay, so there you go. That has also been pasted. Okay, right. Then it goes on to say the style name BP title has already been created. Okay, so BP title has already been created, and if you check your document, you can find it over there. Okay, you can see over here BP title is there. This was already given to us. We did not create it. Okay, so what are we supposed to do with it? It says over here, has been created, stored, and applied to the title text. Modify the BP title so only the following formatting is applied. So we are supposed to modify BP title. So let's right click on BP title and let's click on modify. And what needs to happen over here is it should be a serif font and font size 34. Okay, so serif font, so Arial, I'm not sure. I think Times New Roman would be a safer option. It needs to be size 34 center, size 34. It needs to be center aligned. It needs to be bold, italic. So bold, italic, not underlined. It needs to have a single line spacing, 0 before, 0 after. So we come to format, we come to paragraph, 0 before, 0 after, and single line spacing. Okay, so that's all done. We click on OK. Again, we click on OK. So that particular style has also been modified as per the question paper's instructions. Okay. So once again, we have to take a screenshot to show that we made these changes. So let's right click on BP title. Click on modify so you can see the changes. Let's take a screenshot of this, Windows Shift S, and let's come down to our Word document, evidence document. Let's say cancel this. Let's come to evidence 4. Let's paste it over here. Okay, so that's also done. Right. Then it says below the title, add the subtitle produced by and your name. So below the title. So one thing that we need to do is it's talking about the title. So let's first go into our document and let's, okay, the title has been applied. Now we say over here, produced by colon, put your name. And over here it says, apply the BP subtitle to this text. Okay, so BP subtitle should be applied. So we are in Home tab. BP subtitle is over here. Let's click on it. Okay. The next thing it says is apply the BP body style to the rest of the document. So let me close this. The rest of the document, which is from here to here, right up to the end, needs to have the style of BP body, which is over here. So let's click that over here. That's also done. Okay. Right. The next thing it says is apply tick-shaped bullets to the text from full course must be completed to and observe local laws. Okay, so where do we get that? So from here up to here, I'm going to press Shift and select up to here. Bullet points with the tick symbol should be applied. So let's click on the bullet points over here. You have it in the Home tab and say we want it tick. Okay, that's taken. The next thing is, it says over here, the bullets are indented 1.5 centimeters from the left with a hanging indent. Okay, so 1 centimeters from the left. So first select your entire bulleted list, select it from here to here. Let's come into paragraph and let's adjust this indentation. Okay, so right now the indentation is from the left 1.34 and double quotes. Double quotes means inches. Let's change this to 1.5 cm. Okay, from the left 1.5 cm and make sure it's also hanging. Okay, that's what the question paper told. Hanging indent. Okay, so that's also done. And let's see if there's anything else we need to do. The list is in single line spacing with no space between the lines. So single line spacing and no spacing between the lines. So right now it's having a spacing of, before the line there is 0, after every line there is a spacing of 6 points. But the question paper has told us there should be no space between the lines. So we're going to make that also 0. Okay, so this is going to be made 0 and we are going to click on OK. However, when you come to the last point, they say there is a 6-point space after the last item. So only for the last item, after the last item on this bulleted list, there needs to be a 6-point space. Okay. So let's go into our document and let's only select the last line. Only the last line let's select, and let's go into the paragraph drop down over here, and let's say only for this particular line I want a 6-point spacing. Let's click on OK. So now you can see after the last line there is a 6-point spacing. Okay, right. Then he goes on to say, identify the 5 subheadings in the document and apply the BP subhead style to each one. The 5 subheadings. Okay, so if you go from the top, you can see this is one subheading, and we need to apply the BP subheading style to it. That's done. The second one is over here. So again, BP subheading. Equipment, we have another one, BP subheading. BP subheading. BP subheading. Okay, so we have applied the BP subheading to the 5 subheadings. Okay, I think I've made a mistake there. Subhead, is this subhead? Oh, this is subtitle. I made a mistake. It should be subheading, right? Which is this one. This one. Let's come down again. Subheading. 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 Okay. Right. Locate the table in the document. Delete the entire column with the heading time limit. So if you look very carefully, you can see over here, this is the table over here. Okay, this is the table over here. And we are supposed to delete the column that says time limit over here. Okay. Right. So let's come over here. This is the time limit. So this is the table. Okay. However, there are no borders to be seen. That's why it's difficult to understand. But this is the time limit column. So let's carefully select its entire column. Let's right click and let's say delete column. Okay. So that particular column is also deleted. Right. Change the page layouts as a subheading racing and all following text is displayed in 2 columns of equal width with a 2 centimeter space between the columns. Okay. So from racing onwards, from this point onwards, everything has to be formatted into 2 columns. Okay, so let's go into layout. Let's go into columns. Okay, let's go into more columns. And let's say we want 2 columns, but we want the spacing. We want the spacing to be 2 centimeters. Okay, so we will say 2 cm, 2 cm. And should the column width be equal? Let's check that as well. So it says in 2 columns of equal width. Yes, so we want the width to be equal column width. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on OK now. And as soon as you do that, you can see your text from racing onwards has been broken into 2 columns. Okay, right. Moving on to the next part, it says format the table so that the border and all data fit within the column width. So it's talking about borders. So let's put borders for this table. Let's click on this area over here, our entire table. Let's come into table design and let's first put borders so we can properly see the data. Let's put all borders for it. Okay. And you can see there's a problem with the spacing over here. We'll come to it. Okay. So before we do this part, before we start adjusting the column widths and all that, let's first do everything else. Okay. Thereafter, we'll come and adjust it. So it says the BP table style is applied to all the data. Let's do that. So let's come to the home tab. Make sure your table is selected. Come and click over here. The entire table gets selected and apply the BP table style. Okay, so we have applied the BP table style. Right, that's also done. Okay. The next thing it says is text in all rows is center aligned vertically center aligned. So you can come to the layout and vertically center aligned is over here. Okay, vertically center aligned. Okay. Okay, that's also done. No words are split where text is wrapped within the table. So we don't want any text to split to go outside the cell. None of that is happening, but we cannot see over here what's happening. So what we're going to do is we're going to make these columns smaller, right? So that we have more space over here. We'll come to this. We'll come back to it. Okay. All internal and external grid lines are displayed when printed. There is no cell shading. There is a 6-point space after the table. Okay. So we do have a problem over here where these columns are too big. There's some unnecessary space on the left over here. So what we are going to do over here is we're going to try and move our table a little bit to the left so we can properly see what's happening over there. Okay, so I just moved it so I can properly see the table, and now I'm going to make these columns really small. Okay, and make this column also small. Let's move the table again a little bit to this side so I can properly see it. Okay, make this side also small. Oops, read from the top. Okay, right. Now this table is supposed to be where? It's supposed to be where is it supposed to be? Okay, so it's supposed to be below here, right? With R or R. So below here, so let's get the table below that particular space. Let's try one more thing. Layout, auto fit content. Oh, that didn't work as well. Let's see if we can make it a bit smaller. Let's take this a little up. Okay. I think I messed up my table, so I'm going to undo it completely again. Undo it again. Redo. Okay. Let's take our table down. Completely separate paragraph. Okay, now let's try this over here. Let's say layout. Okay, let's put borders for this table. Borders, all borders. Okay. There's some blank spaces over here. Let's remove those with backspace. 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 Let's apply the table style. I forgot to apply the table style. Home, BP table. Right, now let's try this. Okay, backspace, backspace. Unnecessary space taken up on the table. For example, this column can be made a lot smaller. This column can be made a lot smaller. Kilometers. So I'm pressing backspace. Okay, I'm keeping the cursor. I'm pressing backspace. Right, let's make this a lot smaller. Over here, the same thing. Backspace, 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 backspace. Okay, so we need this particular column to be made even smaller. So let's come into layout and let's reduce the width slowly by slowly by slowly. Let's reduce it till we can feel. Okay, so now we have the whole width visible over here. Okay, that looks good. Right. Next, what do we need? No cell shading, no words. There is a 6-point space after the table. There has to be a 6-point space after the table. Okay, so I'm gonna keep my cursor over here. Okay, and I'm gonna put a 6-point space before this text. Okay, so I'm gonna click on paragraph over here, and I'm gonna say give me a 6-point space before. Okay, just before this table. Okay, so you can see there's a 6-point space now over here. Right. Now moving on to the next part, it says sort the data in the table into descending order of kilometers. Descending means from big to small. Okay, so let's go ahead and select the kilometers column, and let's go into table design. And in table design, sorry, layout. And in layout, you have an option called sort, where you can sort from small to big, go big to small. So I'm going to click on sort, and I'm going to say sort by kilometer. Okay. And I'm going to say it's a number, and I want to sort it in descending order. Okay. I want to sort it in descending order. And something else that we need to mention is that my list, which means the first row that I selected, is a heading. So you must say my list has header row, so that it will not move kilometers, when sorting it. Because I want my computer to understand that this is my heading. The first row is my heading, which is why I have said header row. My list has a header row, which means the first row is my heading, so don't move that. Now I'm going to click on OK. So when I click on OK, you can see now it has sorted from big to small. Okay, 6,900 has come at the top, and then 5544. Okay, so it is now in descending order. Right, moving on to the next one. Insert a new row as the first row of the table and enter the title. Okay, so let me first insert a new row. So let's right click on the top row, right click and say insert entire row above. And over here, what are we supposed to type? We're supposed to type popular distance bike. I'm just going to copy and paste this, Control C, Control V. Okay, and it says over here, format the first row of the table to be bold and center aligned over the 4 columns. Okay, so it has to be bold and center aligned over the 4, which means you're supposed to merge and center these 4 columns. Okay, so I've selected these 4 columns. I'm going to come to my table design tab, sorry, my layout tab, and in layout you have merge cells. I have now merged it. However, it's not in the center. So let's come home and let's center align it as. Okay, right. Import the image J220 bike and place it in the paragraph beginning conventional cycle touring. Okay, so let's get this image. This image is over here. So Control C to copy. And I have to keep it at conventional cycling, just before conventional cycling, which is somewhere over here. So I'm going to keep the cursor there, and I'm going to press Control V to paste the image. The image has been pasted. Now, the first thing I need to do is I need to rotate the image 180 degrees. So let's come into picture format. And over here, you have rotate, which is, no, sorry, this one. This is rotate. So I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees twice to make it 180, 90, then again 90. And now it has been rotated 180 degrees. The next thing it says it is resized to a width of 4 centimeters with the aspect ratio maintained. Okay, so let's click on this image. Let's go into picture format and let's go into size. Okay, so the width needs to be 4 centimeters. Let me click on this drop down. And first, I'm going to make sure that aspect ratio is locked, because the question paper told aspect ratio needs to be maintained, which is why I'm going to ensure that that is locked. Okay, and I'm going to change the width to 4 how much? 4 centimeters. The width, which is over here, I'm going to make it 4 centimeters. And I'm going to say OK. So now the image has been resized to 4 centimeters width. Right. The next thing is it is aligned to the right of the column and top of the paragraph starting conventional cycle touring. So it needs to be taken to the right and it needs to be on the top of the paragraph. Okay. So what I'm going to do is it's difficult for me to move it right now. Let's see if this works. Okay. So this works. Okay. But more than that, what you could do is, sorry, Control Y. Z. More than that, what you could do is you could come to picture format and you could say wrap text and you can say type text. Now this will allow you to move your text, okay, somewhere like this. Now you have a perfect. It's on the right, all the way up to here. Take it a little more up, okay, perfect. There you go. Okay, sorry, it's too much there. Down, okay, perfect. It's aligned to the right, okay, so you have to text wrap it first. You have to enable text wrapping. Now you can move it to the right and keep it at the top of your paragraph. Right, next what do we need? The text wraps around the image. We have done that. We enable text wrapping, we enable tight. Okay, so that's all done. The next thing it says is spell check and proofread the document. So spell checking is one, proofreading is another. So spell checking is very simple. You get the computer to check for spelling mistakes. That's simple. You can use a shortcut key F7, or you can come into review. And here you have spelling and grammar. Just click on it. And if there are any grammatical issues, it will show you. So it says there are 4 spelling issues. Let's check them. So bike packers, okay, let's change it to this word. Frame bag, let's change it to this word. Seat pack, let's change it to this word. Frame pack, we'll change it to this word. Spelling is done. So grammar, there are a lot of issues. You can change them one by one. You can ignore this. Okay, right. Moving on to the next thing, it says the list and table are not split over columns or pages. So the table hasn't been split, it's fully there. The list, however, has been split. The list has been split. So I'm going to take this entire thing down. I'm going to say insert page break and take it down. Okay, so now the entire list is in one place. Okay, all right. Next, what do we need? There are no windows or orphans. Sorry, no widows or orphans. Okay, so we do not have any of that over here. All the paragraphs are continuing, heading and text. So we do not have any widows or orphans, right? There are no blank pages. There are no blank pages in our document. Spacing is consistent between all lines. Okay, that's also okay. Save the document using the file name and format using step 1. So we saved it as DP guide. We're going to continue saving it under that name. And then the next thing that we are supposed to do is we have to print the document. So you can use the shortcut key Control P. Okay, push Control P and then choose your over here, whichever is your printer. Print. It will print it in 2 pages. Okay. Is there anything else we need to do? So make sure name, center number, and candidate number are on your. And with that, we have come to the end of task 2. In the next video, we'll be moving on to task 3, where we will be dealing with database.